Let's do a quick look into the news today, and we can see that the major indices were largely positive. Trump planned to do a 25% tariff on steel and aluminium imports, which literally came out after yesterday's video, and traders and investors just brushed it aside. The news on the street: inflation data, Powell's congressional testimony, and tariffs are poised to drive the market story. And hedge funds emerge as the biggest buyer of US stocks last week. You can see the 5-day net flow as compared to the 20-day net flow. We can see the hedge funds are getting into it. President Trump is putting a 25% tariff on all steel imports from any country into the US. When we run the numbers on US imports of steel and aluminium by origin in 2024, we can see the major countries are Canada for both steel and aluminium. For steel, it's Canada, Mexico, and Brazil. And aluminium, Canada, the UAE, and Mexico. In crypto news today, MicroStrategy, which is now Bitcoin Strategy or just Strategy, has resumed buying Bitcoin after its rebranding. And we can see the crypto market is largely up. Let's have a look across the main markets and also into the crypto market to see how things have been moving in the past 24 hours, and then let's dive into the structural levels. Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the CTKS Method. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back, CTKS family. My goal is to assist you in becoming more of a financial and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love through positive excellence. If you like the content, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. We look forward to welcoming you into our global family. There are a lot of free resources on CTKSmethod.org. The link is in the description of this video. Let's see where the markets are going in the next 24 hours. And let's run the numbers. Looking at the key macroeconomic events for this week. The real one is the CPI. Of course, whenever Fed Chair Powell testifies, it's going to get choppy inside markets. Prepare yourself for up and down volatility as the market comes to grips with what Fed Chair talks about. It looks like there are no rate cuts anticipated for the next FOMC meeting in the 19th of March. There's only an 85.5% probability of a cut. A change in the federal funds rate, and that's by 25 basis points. That has slightly increased by 0.5% in the past 24 hours. I'd like to thank everybody for their exceptional comments in yesterday's video. We've got just such an amazing community. Thank you for being here. When we look at Bitcoin relative to past cycles, for example, the 2016 cycle and the 2020 cycle, we can see around this period of time in the 2020 cycle and the 2016 cycle, we had massive price appreciation. We've seen pretty much the opposite in this cycle. We've had a retracement, but that is largely due to the tariff issues hitting the global economy. It looks like we're starting to get buyers into the crypto market as well as the stock market. And one of the things I mentioned yesterday, getting risk back on inside the stock market is critical for Bitcoin's upward price movement. And despite the announcement of 25% tariffs on steel and aluminium, that risk-on activity came back into the market. This is why we must look at price reality. When we look at yesterday's video, we said the two areas that we needed to keep our eye on in terms of Bitcoin, and of course this impacts the entire crypto market, were 98,384 and the sellers were just too strong, and 94,574, the buyers were too strong. We've been trapped in a range for at least a couple of days now. The two key levels that we need to keep our eye on in the next 24 hour, this 96,493, if we start to lose that, that will create negative structural attraction down to this gravitational well or GW between 93,432 and 94,574. If we manage to break above this 98,384, we've got some resistance at 99,305 and 99,534 to overcome. But the two numbers that you need to keep your eyes on are these two. These two from a support, and this is structural support over all of price history. This is not recent indicative price analysis. In order to understand where things could go, we need to look at total crypto market cap. Remember, in the last video, we were just about here. We saw some upward price momentum and the tariffs, the 25% tariffs on steel and aluminium. News was released and we saw a big fall off into total crypto market cap support at 3.05 trillion. The markets got really wavy, but they managed to move from that area of structural support up to this area of structural resistance. But you remember that Bitcoin's area of structural resistance was a little bit higher. Total crypto market cap is vitally important to keep your eye on in the next 24 hours. So just be aware of this. Even if we get a movement back on total crypto market cap, we would still anticipate just a movement back to around this area, the 96,900. So that's going and giving us a pretty good indication that if we manage to stay above that 96,493, bullish price momentum is definitely on the cards. Don't forget, price is always moving in a wave. It's always going up and down, up and down. You get the idea, but you must think in a wave-based function. Ethereum has been seriously whacked around the head in recent times. Ever since the ETH ETF came out, we've seen Ethereum just decay. And of course, this is tied into the larger DeFi ecosystem, so Ethereum rallying will bring DeFi with it. From a structural perspective, we can see ETH is currently trading at 26.72. If we get bullish price momentum, we need to break out from this 27.07 mark. But if we get negative price action, we have two levels of structural support, one at 26.55 and one at 26.45. If we do an underside retest, that opens up the 26.02. But if we see Bitcoin, well, total crypto market cap could reduce. If we get negative follow through to around this particular area, which is around that 26.28 mark, and then we would anticipate on finding a degree of buying support, just on a very short-term perspective. Retail traders and investors will be just piling in at that point, so that is something to be aware of. If we get caught here and we reflect back up, this is on the cards. If we get this kind of negative price action, this opens up negative structural attraction and potentially structural overshoot to the 25.75 mark. Always think in terms of three-dimensional price analysis because price can get pretty choppy. And it's always moving in a wave, always coming up and down, up and down. That's what it does. Looking at Solana's levels, we can see Sol is currently 201.52. We've got overhead structural resistance at that 202.40 mark. If we manage to get above there, we've got a degree of structural overhead resistance at 204 and 10 cents and also 204 and 80. We can see at the current time, Solana is actually quite weak compared to Bitcoin and total crypto market cap. In fact, it's already back here in terms of total crypto market cap. I was giving you a bit of a hint as I was analyzing the price action, trying to reflect back into an area. So we can see Solana is currently weak. But it does have underpinning structural support at that 210 cent mark and the 199. And this 199 is actually quite strong. Don't forget the memes will move around and the lower cap alts will move around quite substantially. That's why we love them. We love them when they're going substantially up, but when they're coming substantially down, it can be terrifying unless you know where the structure is. Just looking down a little bit more, if the 199 level doesn't hold, you have structure around the 195.90 and the 195.10 level. Please let me know in the comments, out of the cheat sheet, what would you like to see? just analyze structurally in tomorrow's video. We know that no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravitational pull, and what is that pull? It's right here. In yesterday's video, we were around here, and then the trade tariff talk came in and just crunched the market down. That pulled everything down with it. And then Bitcoin just pumped up. Why? Because it hit total crypto market cap structural support. So it came up and then came down again as the fear re-entered. On total crypto market cap, crypto was bought up across the board, which created this higher low. Now we've seen crypto and Bitcoin do really well at the current time. It is moving up, and that's moved up the entirety of the crypto market. In percentage terms, it may not look too much, but when you look at the actual functional market representation through Bitcoin, it is really good. If Bitcoin continues to come up, we would anticipate, of course, that no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. But if Bitcoin starts to come down, the opposite will happen. That's why it's very important to look at crypto's total structural levels, and that we also look at Bitcoin. But we know Bitcoin isn't just moved around by Bitcoin, it's moved around by the major market indices. Please remember to do your cheat sheet, it's vitally important. Looking at gold for the past few days, it's been a very interesting time for gold. Some key structural levels that you need to keep your eye on: the 2930, the 2903, 2854, and 2836 levels. Now, why are these levels important? Okay, let's just look from a structural perspective. What we saw was a huge degree of one structural resistance turn into and be confirmed as structural support at that 2854 mark. The markets are getting quite uncertain, but one thing is absolutely certain: structure is absolute. You always have price moving between levels of structure. If it's not going below, it's going to the one above, and the one above, the critical one, was 2903. If we get forward continuation with gold's price on a bullish perspective, 2930 is definitely on the cards. But if we can't hold 2903, 2854 becomes the NSA level, negative structural attraction. Looking through a structural lens gives us such an insight into where price can go, and you interpret structure exactly the same way no matter what chart you look at. Please let me know in tomorrow's video, what would you like to look at from a structural perspective, but you must pick it from the cheat sheet. Understanding structure is vitally important because structural levels count. They really count. The more of these lines that you have above the current price, and what are these lines called? They're called CTKS levels or Stanfield levels, SLs. When you look at this, in this particular chart, we move from a cluster of confirmed structural support up into structural resistance and were rejected down. Guess what this chart is? It's the VIX. What I'm going to do here is to just overlay Bitcoin's price against the VIX. As the VIX was coming up, what did we notice? We had this decrease in the VIX. And what did Bitcoin do? It rallied. But as the VIX came up and tested this overhead structural resistance, what did Bitcoin do? It plummeted down. And then as the VIX decayed, we can see that Bitcoin came up. This means that there's an inverse directional correlation between the VIX and Bitcoin. A lot of times people will say, I'm just going to look at Bitcoin's chart and I'll be able to determine exactly where Bitcoin is going. Good luck with that. That's a retail thing. No professional trader or investor would ever look at the chart that they're putting money into and say, I know where this chart is going, without first looking through the row 1 and row 2 of the cheat sheet. It is just far too risky to do so. Therefore, if you were keeping your eye on the VIX or the VIX futures over the past 24 hours, you knew exactly where crypto was going. And congratulations. There's a very harsh reality inside the crypto market and inside stock markets, commodities, and forex markets as well. And if you literally don't understand intercorrelation and interconnection, you will fail, guaranteed. The way to understand intercorrelation and interconnection is to first pick up the free cheat sheet from CTKSmethod.org. This has all the rows in it. Now, once you've got the rows, you need to know how to read this. So just hook in each and every day, and I'll take you through just a little piece of the jigsaw puzzle that will reinforce everything for you. You'll get up to the point where you can just scan through this cheat sheet and you will understand what the markets are doing. Once you get up to that point, it's time to just delve in to the structural intercorrelations and interconnections between all of these variables. That may sound like a lot of work, but seriously, you have to put in the work if you're going to succeed. It's like, I'm not going to put in the work at uni. Okay, well, you'll probably fail a lot of subjects. I'm not going to put in the work, at my job, where I get paid. Well, you're probably going to get fired. Or if you don't get fired, you'll just coast along and you will get overlooked for promotions. I'm not going to put in the work on my relationships. Okay, well, those relationships aren't going to be very good. Okay, I'm going to put money into the stock market, into the crypto market, into forex, into commodities, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like gambling. Ay caramba, you're going to lose it all. If you gamble, professional gamblers don't gamble. We've just looked under the structural levels of total crypto market cap and Bitcoin. We also looked at Ethereum. Looking under and into the structure is vitally important. Do not ever make your decisions based on a number. Make your decisions based on structure. If you want to avoid losses, if you want to get profits out of the market, this is the reality. But Ken, I just want to put a trading bot on. Well, it's kind of like everything in life. If you just want to automate, if you just think, I'm going to become a millionaire by sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. Yeah, that's kind of a fantasy. It doesn't work that way. Just think about every single thing that you've accomplished in this world. You put in the effort. It took you a lot of hard work and energy and effort to earn the money. The very least that you could do is seek to protect it through enhancing your knowledge. And there are a lot of really great videos on CTKSmethod.org. I suggest you just pop across to there and have a look. And the partial scholarship is still open to the profiting from CTKS method structure. This is without doubt a fantastic course. You will learn so many things in here to be more of a financial and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love. Just reach out and directly message me on LinkedIn. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.